Alright guys, so today we are doing the blue tier list, the last of the elemental tier list for this month. Obviously from next month it's going to be just whoever gets new characters and SP buffs and all that good stuff, or if I just want to change someone around. But let's get right into it. Before we get any further, please backflash that bunch of content and let's go. Alright, first we have my boy, a very strong start, Blue Geto, bro. So number one, great debuffer, you know, he's limited, so he's not as accessible, but he's great debuffer. He, you know, does nice damage as well. Just overall a very strong character, bro. It's like the perfect slot 3 or even slot 4 DPS. You can do either, really, but you know, pair him with Sukuna. You could pair with him with like everyone else back in the day, but with the newer tower meta, it's more focused on like elementals now, so it's more going to be the Sukunas and I guess the blue Gojos now you're pairing him with. But he's still a great character. I think honestly he's the epitome of a must-have support. If you have him, you know what I mean. Obviously probably gonna get outclassed as time goes on. He already got his kind of like his balance update, so his SP is gonna be absolutely insane. But until then, I think must-have is, you know, perfect for him. Alright, we have blue Gojo next, right? Obviously on launch he was all of our goats, right? You need a blue Gojo or you are cooked, right? He hasn't even got any, you know, adjustments or any, you know, SP buffs yet, but when he does, I promise each and every single one of you boys, he's gonna be back to his prime, bro. Like, you know, like LeBron levels of prime is what I'm talking about. You know, this player's been in the game for so long and he's still good, right? Like, obviously, you know, like each Gojo that drops is, I want to say, better than the last, probably except Domain and Honor One, but you know, he's still a great character, still a nice DPS, right? If you don't have Sukuna, he's still probably like maybe on par with Jogo, the best slot 4 damage option. I think honestly, you know, just for like his sheer, you know, his legacy he has on the blue team, his accessibility, he's very easy to dupe, you know, all that good stuff. I think must have, honestly, don't hate me, is very fair because, like, you know, he's still pumping out good numbers with the right support. Yeah, he hasn't got the Domain Gojo support, but, you know, having him on your account is not going to hurt you at all, right? So I think must-have is pretty fair. Oh, we have blue Yuji next, right? This dude is pretty bare bones, doesn't really do much at all. I think he has a taunt, if I remember correctly, but he's, you know, gonna get no use. Not like the other blue Yuji is, you know, much better, but I'm not seeing much use in this guy at all. He's our first R tier for the day. Bro, we just keep on getting bangers. We have blue Jogo next, okay? Blue Jogo, you know, pre-SP buff. Maybe he could do a bit of damage, but he's, you know, on most people's lists, like at the bottom tier, right? My dude got no play at all. He was, you know, the guy you look at in the metal shop and just, you know, like feels sick looking at him because he sucked. But now, bro, he got his SP buff, and my boy is like, I'd say just under Sukuna level, right? In terms of pure damage. So, okay, I don't know how to do this, right? Because in terms of like pure usage, if you have Sukuna, he's not a must-have, right? If you don't have Sukuna, I'd say he's a must-have. So it depends on that, right? It's kind of like my argument with the green Yuji and Nami on my last tier list. I think the SP buffs like really depend on if you have the prime elemental unit, right? So in terms of this guy, he's a curse technique, domain, damage dealer with kind of like a bleed effect, right? Sukuna is that exact same thing, but 10 times better, right? So I'm gonna put him, honestly, okay, this video is assuming you have Sukuna, okay? Because Sukuna's gonna, you know, guess where he is. But Jogo, don't attack me. I reckon he's here, bro, because he's a budget Sukuna, right? Oh, I don't know. I feel like you guys have got to come at me in the comments for that, bro. So, you know what? Must have. Okay. Alright, next we have blue Junpei, okay? Not anything crazy at all. I don't think this guy gets any use whatsoever. On launch, wasn't too great either. Straight ass tier, I think. Alright, next we have blue Karma, okay? Blue Karma, he's interesting. The SR one, okay? Because this dude, like, on launch, for like the newbies, he's a decent DPS option. Kind of similar to that green SR Mekamaru. He has got some uses, right? So, obviously, if you have, like, pretty much any other SSR blue DPS, you're not gonna need him at all. But if you don't have him, I reckon like he's fair, right? Because he's gonna fill that kind of slot 4 DPS job in case you need it. So since he has got some utility, I think tier is very fair for him. Alright, we have the blue SR JJK0 Maki next. I'm a very big fan of this unit. Her little like skill 2 buff she has with the slot 3 skill that has like the break damage and that as well. She's got a nice little kit, right? And she got a bit adjusted like after the JJK0 rerun, and she just got like really good, right? So again, if you don't have like Sukuna or Jogo, she's gonna be a good slot 4 DPS option. She's gonna be you know, like melee as well. So some tower floors, I'm not sure if there's a blue tower floor like this, but some tower floors do obviously not allow any like ranged or curse technique moves. Maki could help with that, right? So it's really like situational, but as a unit herself, I'd say she's solid, bro. Don't put her part solid tier, I reckon. Alright, we have blue Megumi next, alright? So a common trend with a lot of these characters on this list is pre-buff, they were dookie booty, ass, you know, don't even bother with them. But now, Megumi's actually pretty good. Like, he's got some nice, you know, he's always had the stun, but he gets his ult out quicker now, and his dog lasts longer too, which is helpful because Mabuki and Loki put out some numbers, not like crazy numbers, but nice numbers, right? So I think he's a nice option, maybe as a backup, you know, blue DPS, even slot 3 if you haven't got any more debuffers, or like a slot 2 stunner or something like that. He has AoE too, but I think Megumi is a solid character. He's, you know, after his buff, you don't really feel as bad about pulling him as you would before the buff. So I've got him solid tier as well, I think. Alright, we have blue Nobara next, right? She's not very good either. She's got basically no use. I've probably never seen anyone use her ever. I don't know why they even like bother giving out these rare characters, because no one's gonna use them. Even then, you guys are gonna do one summon, get SRs, and you're good, right? So I think she's going to us here as well. Alright, next we have the JJK0 Panda, okay? And this guy, unlike, you know, Maki, this dude sucks, right? Like, I guess he's just like every other Panda character with his little, you know, little assaults he does and all that. But honestly, I don't think he's anything, you know, to be sought after at all. I guess he does get a little bit of aura points because he's a limited character. So I guess if you want to be a completionist and have a nice full box with like every character, you know, you'll need him. So in those terms, he's a must-have, right? But as like gameplay and all that, pretty much no real need for him ever. So I think Arse tier is pretty fair for him as well. Okay, next we have blue Shoko, okay? And blue Shoko is probably the outlier in terms of SR blue characters, because she's the only healer in the game, like right now on global, and she's, you know, got her heal. It's not anything like out of this world, right? Obviously, green Shoko and yellow Shoko like blow her out of the park. Crazy how we didn't have any Shokos for like a year, and then we get 2 in like 6 months. Kind of crazy, right? But anyway, like this blue Shoko should do the job if you need her as a healer. Good on those store teams, I think. She has some use, so I think solid tier is fair for her. You know, has some utility, not many in my experience, but I can see the value, so solid's fair. Alright, we have blue Ino next, okay? So this guy kind of gets like a zone ability, kind of like the Zonji, you know, the yellow one for Annie. He gets it, I think it's like the total phase he gets, and he can do damage, you know, twice like that. This dude's an okay DPS. He's nothing crazy at all. You don't need him at all. He's, I guess, like the final bait banner, you could say, before my boy On and One Gojo came out. So global, be prepared. He'll come out very soon. But, you know, as for right now, he's not really needed at all. He still is a nice character. Can put up some numbers. I do like his little auspicious beasts abilities and all that. You know, I like, you know, Ino's a cool character, bro. So in the future, you know, manga readers, you know what I'm talking about, they could cook up some nasty units with this guy. But as for right now, nothing too crazy. I think solid tier is fair though, because he's a nice DPS, but that's about it. Alright, we have blue Inumaki next, alright? Oh, bro, I love this character. I remember when I pulled him initially on that, like, paid summon during Annie, I wasn't too impressed. You know, like, I didn't feel the value yet, but pair him with Sukuna, and and I promise you, your families will be fed for generations, bro. His, you know, blue damage increase he does, his skill 2 decreases, you know, some effects on the enemies as well. Skill 1's just a little attack, and his ult increases blue damage taken as well. This dude actually, like, with all buffs considered, you know, he like puts some decent numbers as well. I think honestly, he's a perfect slot 3 blue character. You know, pair him slot 3, Sukuna slot 4, and you're chilling, right? So I think this dude is probably topping must-have. I think he's a better version of Blue Geto, honestly, because he's a bit more support tailored. Doesn't need to be doing all that damage when, you know, Sukuna is out, and Geto is kind of more restricted by high curse energy levels. So I think Inumaki is a bit more free, right? So he goes there, I think. Alright, we have Blue Yuji next, right? My boy Yuji. Okay, on release, I thought it was cool. I like his little taunt and his revive. I think he has a pretty gimmicky kit. He's a cool little character, but honestly, as the game goes on, not really much use at all. Blue's just getting better and better, and as Blue gets better, this guy just gets fizzled out of existence, right? He has like a ult gauge increase for the guy behind him, and also he has a little damage taken increase on, you know, on him as well. But I think this Yuji, his issue is that he tries being too many things at once. He doesn't really excel at anything because he's a tank with like no real damage reduction apart from that one time in his passive. You know, he has a bit of support, but he's not really a debuffer, and he has a res, but like no attraction after the res. So you know what I mean? Like, he's not anything crazy in terms of like being a role for one thing, right? So I think he's another tier. I think he's better than Karma, but not much use with him, I think. You know, does too many things at once and just not needed, I think. Alright, so Blue Karma is kind of similar to, you know, some of these other guys where he's just a kind of like a pure DPS. That's pretty much it. Like, don't get me wrong, he can put up some decent numbers, but again, he's nothing crazy, right? Like, I can see like Jogo, Geto, Gojo, even Inumaki, you know, probably even that SR Blue Maki putting up high, and putting up high numbers than this guy. Like, again, he's not bad at all. He can have some nice damage potential, but he's not needed. And, you know, he has got some balance stuff and all that, but I think either way, not really, you know, a very like insane character. So I think T is fair for him. Probably better than Yuji though. Alright, we have the Blue Maki next, okay? This Blue Maki, she's a nice character. She puts up some like really high numbers. She reminds me of like Toji, but a blue version, which is kind of like ironic, right? Because, you know, Zenin and all that. But this Maki is actually a pretty good character, but she's dropped in a weird phase where, you know, it's a bunch of like skip banners until, you know, 1.5 annie, right? Because you have Shoko coming out, and Shoko is like, you know, you want Shoko because she's, you know, a vital piece for the yellow team. And then there's her, and then there's Mei, right? And this Maki, like, unless you really like Maki, there's no real use for her at all. Solely because, like, she's a very strong character, but probably not worth your cubes, right? So, kind of falls on a similar boat to Ino, but he's but I reckon she's much stronger, right? So I think she goes in solid tier as well. Not because she's like not putting up numbers that are must-have level, but I think more because she's not, you know, she's a summonable character. You don't need a pull for her, especially with like high Gojo dropping. So that's my placement for her. Alright, we have Miguel next, right? He's got some like tank gimmicky stuff, you know, a bit of debuffs as well. I think he's an okay character. I know he can help in a lot of those like stalling teams and kind of those, you know, non like nuking oriented teams. But again, he was a limited character. No one really summoned for him, so I can't really put him must have when you should skip his banner, right? That makes no sense. So I think solid tier again is probably fair for him. I wouldn't mind putting him tier, but I don't know, bro. I think he has more use than the guy, so I think solid is pretty fair for him. Alright, next we have Blue Miwa, okay? Blue Miwa is pretty interesting because she's kind of like, you know, every other Miwa in the game. Got the new shadow style, the counter and all that. Pretty, you know, similar all the Miwa characters, and she doesn't really stand out. She's probably the best of the Miwas. I'd probably put her slightly over Green, probably. But then again, Green gets to pair with Mekamaru. This one doesn't really because, you know, the new color meta and all that. So I think Miwa's probably in tier. She can probably reach levels of solid or must have depending on like what team you're running. But I think for general use, she hasn't got much of it, I think. So I think T is fair for her. Don't attack me in the comments. Alright, next we have Momo, okay? And I want you to, I want all the smoke, bro. I'm putting her in S tier, bro. I'm joking. Okay. She won't come home, so I don't really like her. She won't, come to my box, which is very annoying. But, obviously she's, like, pretty much the only blue, like, natural buffer we have. Because everyone else, like, debuffers. So, if you don't have Momo, you're kind of missing that slot 1 buffer, I guess. Or even, like, slot 2, like, whatever slot you're running. But you're missing that, like, just that natural buffer, right? And she's really good, don't get me wrong. I think she's another must-have in terms of just her value, being the only real blue buffer right now. So she goes right there, pretty simple. And bro, I have like not many of these, right? So you guys like won't see as many artwork pop-ups as you would as my other videos, because my luck for blue just isn't there, bro. Like, let's count real quick. I don't have Momo. I don't have, well, she's not out yet. I don't have Miguel, Miwa, Karma, and then Nami and Toto as well. So kind of crazy, right? But okay, so Nami next. Nami's an okay character. He can help you on some tower floors. He's just a nice, like, little DPS character. Is he a must-have? Definitely not. Solid tier is probably fair, but I think if he goes in solid, Karma probably does as well. So I don't know, bro. Oh. You see, I'm guessing now, because like I need keep in mind the reaction, you know what I mean? So okay, let me think. So if I've got Karma and Miwa there, Nami probably is around that level too, probably a bit higher. I'll put him in solid tier for now. That could change, but for now, there we go. All right, next we have the king of curses. The honored one in this case. Like, don't get over yourself, bro. Sukuna is the honored one for this video. How could it not have been, bro? My boy Sukuna getting his flowers finally, I guess. His damage is like absolutely unparalleled. My boy's just a goat, right? And I say in DPS in general, he's almost untouchable. He's a great character. How can you not put him in honored one, bro? I don't know. He needs to be there. So I think the most obvious placement in the entire video. Blue Toto next, okay? I won't hold you, boys. I can't lie to you guys. My boy's right in ass tier. I'm so sorry. I love my boy Toto. The artwork is peak. Video coming out soon, by the way. But as a character, my boy offers pretty much nothing. I'm sad because I love Toto. He's my boy, but ass tier. I'm sorry. Alright, last we have Blue Inumaki from JJK 0, okay? I think this dude's a bit different from, the Blue Panda, because he's somewhat usable. He has like that taunt with the counter and all that. He's a bit different, so I think he has a bit more utility, I guess. So I think, fair, right? I think T is a good spot for him. Just a nice little old character, right? But nothing too crazy. Bit of utility, but that's about it. So that is the tier list, boys. If you have any, disagreements, comment down below. I want all the smoke, bro. But that is all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to black flash that was for content. And I'll see you boys later. Peace.